What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut, and today we are going to look at the Jordy Nelson draft pick trade, which occurred during the 2008 NFL Draft. Now, this was actually a trade up between the New York Jets and the Green Bay Packers that saw the Jets jump back into the first round to acquire a player that they liked in exchange for a second and a fourth round pick. Now, even though I had the Jets listed first, I'm going to start by discussing the Green Bay Packers. So the Packers got two picks in this original trade, the first of which was the 36th overall selection. With that, they would pick wide receiver Jordy Nelson. Now, Nelson had a relatively quiet first 3 years in the league, posting a combined total of 100 receptions for 1,268 yards and 6 touchdowns. However, he broke out on a national stage during Super Bowl 45, where he recorded 9 catches for 140 yards and 1 touchdown, as the Packers would win the Super Bowl. He broke the franchise record for receiving yards in a Super Bowl with that performance as well. Now, he had a strong year in 2011, as he would record 68 receptions for 1,263 yards and a career-high 15 touchdowns. However, it wasn't meant to be in 2012, as a hamstring injury limited him to only 10 games. All said and done, he had a respectable 49 catches for 745 yards and 7 touchdowns. He did bounce back in 2013, as he ended the season with 85 receptions for 1,314 yards and 8 touchdowns. But he had a career year in 2014, as he set his career high in receptions with 98 and yards with 1,519, while adding a very respectable 13 touchdowns. That season also saw him set the franchise record for most receiving yards in a single season at that time. So that's also impressive, especially with a historic franchise like the Packers. Now, unfortunately, he would miss all of the 2015 season with a torn ACL. But he had a strong year in 2016, catching 97 passes for 1,257 yards and a league-high 14 touchdowns. He had an off year in 2017, as his role was reduced after Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone early on in the year. He ended that season with 53 catches for 482 yards and 6 touchdowns. Now, due to cap reasons, he was released after the season. All said and done, he was still definitely underrated, as he was only a one-time Pro Bowler, he was a one-time Comeback Player of the Year, he was a one-time second-team All-Pro, and he led the NFL in receiving touchdowns one time. Like I said, a little underrated, maybe not the most, but definitely underrated, all things considered. Now, they also got the 113th pick, and they would trade this back to the Jets in exchange for the 102nd pick. Now, with the 102nd pick, the Packers would select defensive end Jeremy Thompson. Now, Thompson would appear in 15 games over 2 years for the team, recording 9 tackles before being forced to retire due to a medical condition. Never what you want to see. So now we have the New York Jets. Now, the Jets in the 2008 draft got the 30th overall selection. With that, they would pick tight end Dustin Keller. Now, Keller slowly earned his role in New York's offense as a rookie, as he ended the year with 48 receptions for 535 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had very similar stats in his second season, as he ended that year with 45 receptions for 522 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Now, he made his name known a bit more in the postseason, as he would record 12 catches for 181 yards and 3 touchdowns across 3 games, as the Jets would lose in the AFC Championship game. Now, in 2010, he would actually go on to lead the team in receptions with 55, while recording 687 yards and 5 touchdowns. But he would have a career year in 2011, as he would register 65 receptions for 815 yards, both of which are career highs, and 5 touchdowns. However, in 2012, a pair of injuries limited him to only 8 games, and his production definitely took a hit, as he would only record 28 receptions for 317 yards and a pair of touchdowns. After that, he would walk. Not a bad pick, all things considered. If injuries hadn't affected him, he would be a much better player. Now, they also got a pair of picks back from Green Bay, the first which is the 113th pick. With this, the Jets would select cornerback Dwight Lowery. Now, Lowery was pushed into a starting role early due to an injury, and he had a solid year. Not great, but solid. He would record 64 tackles, 1 interception, and a career-high 5 forced fumbles, as well as a career-high 16 passes defended. Now, he had a decent second year. He would record 3 interceptions and 9 passes defended, but he was kind of pushed back to a more, cornerback 3 reserve role. So, now he had another decent year in 2010. He would record 19 tackles, 7 passes defended, and 3 interceptions, 2 of which were actually returned for touchdowns, as well as a pair of sacks. However, due to playing time, he would actually be traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars in exchange for a 2012 7th round pick. This would become the 214th pick, and it would be traded in turn to the Indianapolis Colts in exchange for the 187th pick in 2012 draft. So, with the 187th pick, the Jets would select safety Josh Bush. Now, over parts of 3 seasons with the Jets, Bush served as a backup and special teams player. He would record 28 tackles and a single forced fumble in that time, and he was waived midway through the 2014 season. Not the best, could have been worse. Now, the Jets also got the 162nd pick from the Packers in the 2008 draft, With that, they would select quarterback Eric Ainge. Now, Ainge would miss his entire rookie season with a foot injury, and he was also suspended 4 games for violating the league's PED policy. Now, in 2009, he would serve as the third-string quarterback. And shortly before the 2010 preseason, he entered rehab as it was announced that he, once again, had violated the league's substance abuse policy. He would spend that whole season on the did not report list due to this stint in rehab, and he would retire before the 2011 season. Could have been better, could have been much worse. So we still have 2 teams we're going to look at. We'll start with the Jaguars, who got cornerback Dwight Lowery. Now, Lowery had a decent first year in Jacksonville. He recorded a pair of interceptions, 36 tackles, and 8 passes defended. However, injuries began to strike him in 2012, as he would only appear in 9 games, recording 37 tackles, 1 interception, and 4 passes defended. Now, he notably captured a fan, who ran onto the field during a Week 2 matchup against the Houston Texans. There's not a lot of videos of this just because the NFL and leagues in general try not to show fans that go on the field, but you can find one on YouTube if you look. Now, in 2013, he would appear in 3 games before he got hurt once more. Over those 3 games, he would record 6 tackles and 1 pass defended, but then he would be waived. Lastly, we have the Indianapolis Colts, who got a draft pick and a player in 2012. So that draft pick was the 214th selection in the 2012 draft. With that, they would select linebacker Tim Fugger, and Fugger did not make the team due to an injury. He would spend a few weeks on the IR, but then he was waived/injured from the IR. Lastly, they also got quarterback Drew Stanton in the steal from the Jets. And Stanton, he would spend the 2012 season as a backup quarterback and a mentor to the first overall pick, Andrew Luck, before walking. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was the Jordy Nelson trade. Definitely one of the interesting ones. Jordy Nelson is one of the more underrated receivers of the early 2010s. And even Dustin Keller was decent. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, have a good rest of your day.